Hello, hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. So it is me, your favorite Whimsy the Tarot reader, and I wanted to do a couple of things. I have some really great questions I've been getting, so I want to answer everybody's questions because I think they're really good questions. A lot of people are asking, how can I feel empathy for Mitch McConnell, Ivanka Trump? What about the children in cages? What about the children being murdered in Yemen? The technique I use, I want to be clear so that people understand the technique I use. It's a Buddhist meditation technique. It's also been called a Kuan Yin meditation. It's different communities teach this technique, including the Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center, if you'd like to find out more about compassion meditation techniques. That's with the Dalai Lama's community. However, there are other communities that teach compassion technique. And so the first part of the technique, when you get into a deep state of relaxation, is to be in a state of pure love and empathy, first for yourself. You first take care of yourself. And then you attempt to extend that love and compassion to others without bias. And in this way, you can simply receive the information, the thought forms of the other person, the feelings of the other person, without placing any judgment on them. So when I turned into Mitch McConnell, he felt whipped, broken, and that he had lost a certain faith in his party, which is sad considering, objectively I get it, the things that he's done for his party. Now, I had said also in a previous remote that Putin appeared as extremely angry, even aggressive towards the United States. That leads me to think that we're getting very, very close to some indictments, and that Putin is afraid that Trump is going to be pulled out of the White House, because everybody who's watched these remotes and anyone who's been remoting Putin and doing your own meditations on Putin, what is the mantra that we keep hearing from Putin? You got it. I want my trade routes. So that is why it feels so aggressive. I want my trade routes. So that also tells me that he's aware of the fact that he's running out of time, and that this president is going to probably be pulled out of the White House preemptively early on. So that answered that question. In terms of the government shutdown being strategic, I erred on this. I wanted to believe that it was going to be something positive and it was going to end in 4 days. This is the problem with wanting to see the bright side of life and trying to be optimistic. And this is one of the reasons why it's hard to be objective as a tarot reader. We always want to say everything's going to be okay, everybody, but what if everything isn't okay? All I can do is tell you what I feel or what I sense. And what I feel and what I sense is that we really are in the middle of a war with Russia, and it has to do with trade routes, as I've mentioned. And I think that there are good people that are really trying to, protect us. The one interesting thing that came from this experiment, it started off as an experiment I did 2 years ago. The one thing that I have liked about this experiment was that I was able to really hear what the Russians were saying. And even though I don't agree, obviously, with Russia, I'd like America to just be a humane, good country and for us to be separate countries. It was interesting. I learned some stuff by being in their energy about the fact that they felt that we had reneged on certain things. So I thought that was interesting. Somebody had asked me about Mike Pence. Is Mike Pence going to be the next president of the United States? I do not know who the next president is going to be of the United States. I did do empathy with Mike Pence, and I felt tremendous compassion for him. I also want to honor what he feels comfortable publicly coming out with. So I will say, being in Mike Pence's energy, that here's what I am allowed to say, because I always get permission. The last 2 years have been very, very hard on him emotionally. He has been spoken to by the council, so the council reserves the right to call people in at any time. So they all are, if they don't cooperate, then they're obstructing the investigation. So there's been a tremendous amount of tension on Mr. Pence. The last 2 years have been incredibly difficult, working with Mr. Trump, the stress of it. And so there are many people close to Mr. Pence that feel, because of everything that is happening and because of the emotional state that it's been a very difficult ordeal, that it may be best for him to step down at this point. Whether or not he's going to be able, if he has to step in to be the president, things have changed. And it's really whether or not he has the emotional fortitude when this is all over to do that. And at this point, it is questionable. And so, coming from a place of universal love and compassion, I would say to Mr. Pence, please take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your emotional well-being. And that may be what he needs to do rather than be the president, in which case it makes sense that Nancy Pelosi is down trying to meet troops and look at the budget and try and find out if there's missing money that's been taken out of. They allocate the money to go to a certain location. If it goes missing, they need to find out whether or not the law was broken, because you can pull money out of one area and put it in another. The president can, and it's legal. So some of that has happened, and so that's also what's being audited by Nancy Pelosi. But she may become the president simply because it's best for him and his family. Mike Pence may choose. It might be best if he's not the president. Let's just leave it at that. That's what I feel comfortable sharing. And Melania, what I will say about Melania is, from what I've picked up, is don't be so quick to judge her. Just stick a pin in what I said just now. Like, okay, don't just withhold judgment for a while on that. Because when this is all over, there are people in this world that are really risking a lot to do the right thing, and I don't want to say any more about it, but just hold your judgment on that for a while. So I was also asked about Deripaska, Deripaska, what I was picking up about him. He's a nerd, he's an intellectual, he's a bookworm, he sells aluminum. He worked as a go-between for Robert Mueller. He's a double agent. He's a known double agent. He helped he was trying to broker a deal to get someone out of Iran with Robert Mueller. He's done that. He's also had an on-again, off-again relationship with Putin. He's not the killer type energetically. I mean, maybe he is, but I just think he'd rather read books and sell. He's not the most energetically. I just don't get killer energy from him. But maybe I didn't go in too deeply, but no, I don't get that kind of energy from Deripaska, that he's a bloodthirsty killer. I get the fact that he's a nerdy intellectual who made billions off selling aluminum. He's mildly corrupted. He's got a little bit of a heart. He tried to help Mueller get a prisoner out of Iran to negotiate. And he's on again, off again with Putin. But he's done favors for the United States, which is another reason why we wanted to lift the sanctions, and because he has shared information with Mueller. So if you would like to find out more about that, you can read about it on Wikipedia, which is what I did. But when I tuned into his energy, he's also given a lot of money to education, promoting education. I didn't get I just didn't get that kind of energy from Deripaska. Nestaya, am I pronouncing it right? Ribka, who was released from prison today. She was released. I tuned into the energy, and I tried to put in energy from the FSB, I believe it is, the British or the Russian intelligence, to try and find out what they felt about Ribka, Nestaya Ribka. And one of the energies that came through said, we see her as collateral damage. She is collateral damage. This can sometimes happen when we are involved in these world events. Sometimes an innocent civilian or bystander comes in and they get killed, they get taken out, and we try to avoid that in the FSB, but sometimes it happens, and we see her as collateral damage. So she's high profile, so the world is watching, so it's better for them to release her and then monitor her and then use her in the future as a bargaining chip. They may still take her out, but she's being monitored and she's being watched very, very closely, and it may be worth their while to keep her alive at this point. That was what I got, just because the whole world is watching, and because if they kill her, they can't use her to bargain with, and she's a bargaining tool. So that is what I saw. We'll go ahead and we'll do a little bit of a throw on world events. Lately, when I've been doing my meditations at night, I try and do a global view of the world. And I'm concerned very much about aggression from Russia. That Russia could start flexing her muscles because she's upset about the fact that, look, it's very clear to me, at least in my meditations, that they want open trade, they want NATO dissolved, they want to have open trade with Iran, going all the way into Afghanistan. They would not have gone bankrupted if it hadn't been the United States funding rebels, funding Saudi Arabia, which went in. They would, if we had helped and supported them, their argument is that Afghanistan would have been a great place to vacation, that they could have brought modernization to that part of the world and to the parts of the world that they went to, and us and Saudi Arabia have actually put those countries backwards, particularly for women. They also pointed out that people were very primitive and uneducated in certain parts of Mongolia. I don't know any of this stuff, man. I just write it down. And that they really felt like they were bringing good primary Russian education and giving opportunities to people in remote areas that otherwise would not have had those opportunities. And then financially being strangled by the Cold War prevented them from being able to maintain that and offer those services in areas where they were desperately needed. And again, they just want to point out, the Russians do, that if we had not continued to prop up warmongers in order to make money for the Saudis and other governments that have a horrible human rights record, and instead opened up trade with Russia, we could have really had a great relationship with them. And they also wanted to tell the Americans that there are many things we actually like and admire about America. We like your films, we like a lot of things about your culture, and we aren't completely hostile about America. So that's their side of the story. All right, I'm just going to do a quick throw and see about this aggression I'm seeing from Russia that has me a little concerned, just because Putin is so angry right now. And then I have something else I want to do with Robert Mueller really quickly. So I'm just going to do three piles. And we'll go ahead and look at the base cards. If you are learning the whimsy technique, I always take two bases. The base is the base of the matter. It's what you're supposed to take away from your readings, those of you that are trying to learn Tarot. So the base of the matter, healing and new beginnings. That is the base of what you're supposed to take away. Springtime, new beginnings, healing card, Page of Cups. This is a time of healing. You know, the truth of the matter is the Russians and the Americans, instead of attacking each other, they need to sit down and have mediation. What do you need in order to stop this, Russia? What trade routes do you need? But right now, these are cards, they don't indicate a good relationship, obviously. Inverted Two of Wands, establishing one's territory. This is a really interesting card for this particular time, because Seven of Wands, again, is trying to defend one's territory. If we have contracts with warmongers that make money creating wars and tension, then there's no incentive to have peace and trade with Russia unless we think we're going to get a better deal financially for the United States. I mean, this is one of those reasons why it's a shame they didn't get some kind of mediation early on, Russia and the United States, to work out these types of things like trade routes and hopefully benefit the world. Instead, everybody just hunkered down and took their sides, and it wasn't necessarily what was good for the world, and it wasn't good for, we ended up paying for it. Both sides paid for it. Ten of Cups is coming in. Again, this keeps coming up, the broken man, walking away from a broken or toxic situation. Ten of Cups is coming in, coming out of stress, victory. So because of the anger I'm seeing from Putin, because of the frustration, I really feel like we're about to see some indictments come down. And I know people are upset about the reading I gave, but I have to tell you the truth. I think we're going to see resignation in exchange for immunity. And it won't happen without some hostilities and threats from the other side. All right, before we close today, I was asked by Spirit when I did my prayers last night to talk to people to show you a basic empathy technique for those of you who are trying to learn how to create more love and empathy in the world. So if you want to learn the basics of empathy technique, the first thing you do is sit or lie down in a way that's comfortable. Sitting up slightly is best. And begin breathing in a slow, steady way to relax yourself. And then imagine you're relaxing from your feet all the way up to your belly, grounding yourself to the earth and bringing healing energy from the earth to your belly, up to the Kundalini going up to your belly, and then heaven's energy coming down and then meeting in an area which is about 2 inches above the belly in Chinese medicine. So we bring the energies together. And as the energies are coming together, you imagine receiving universal love and compassion towards yourself. First off for yourself, and then you imagine without bias that love and that light going out to the rest of the world. And then you imagine enveloping that love and compassion towards others. And so in this remote experiment, I was asked to get you all to think about Bob Mueller. So he's going to be the object of our love and our compassion. And as we meditate on him and we give him love and compassion, tonight when you do your experiment, if you want to do your remote viewing, and open yourself up to receive to receive his energy, you can ask yourself, what do you want? Ask him, what do you want? And this is when I heard, if you could have anything you wanted from this, what would you want? And the answer I got was a full signed confession, sealed confession. But if you hear something else, be sure and tell me what it was. I always want to hear what other remote viewers hear. Okay, so thanks everybody for another great evening sharing our remotes. Blessings to everyone, and we'll see you next time from me to you. Take care. Bye-bye.